What is up, you guys? It's YGO here, and in this video I'm gonna be giving you guys my magical musketeer deck profile post the 2022 Megatins for the October 2022 format. So yeah guys, I just wanted to give you guys this deck profile because this is a deck that, besides Dark Magician, I've been messing with for quite a long time, and is actually one of my favorite decks to play regardless of what the format is. And it's just basically one of my best go-to decks. And with the release of the new support that we got in the Megatins with the new spell here that you guys can see here, this deck kind of got a little bit better in terms of being able to play through disruption. So I just want to give you guys my profile, give you my take, and give you guys a sense of how this deck would play if you're building it. So yeah guys, before we get into that, don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it, comment down below if you guys have any of the other type of content you want to see, and if you guys do want to stick around, definitely subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss out anytime I upload any videos. But with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into the deck profile. So yeah guys, for our musket lineup, we are playing 3 magical musketeer Caspar, 1 calamity, 3 starfire, 2 kid brave, 2 doc, and yeah, that's basically for the monster lineup for muskets. So Caspar obviously is your best searcher of the deck because all of the muskets are pretty much the same when a speller trap is activated in its column, regardless if it's you or your opponent. They get to trigger different types of effects. For Caspar, he is your searcher. He gets you any magical musket card from your deck to your hand. So it can be a monster, it can be a spell, it can be a trap, it can be literally anything that you want. And they also do let you activate their spells and traps from their hand, regardless of whose turn it is. So that's what makes the muskets really good. It's basically hand trap deck, basically. So Caspar is just really good for that, and it's a 3-up. It's pretty standard. Calamity, is your monster reborn when a speller trap is activated in its column. It lets you special summon a musket from your grave in defense, which is obviously not the best if you're trying to push your game, but it's still good for recovery nonetheless, especially in the grind game when you really need another musket on the field to trigger. So it's really good for that. 3 starfire, because obviously this is the one that summons any musket from your deck. So whatever name you may be missing straight from the deck, you can use this to summon off of it and you'll be good. And 2 kid brave. I know some builds nowadays play 3 because the draw power is really good, because you get a free draw 2 off of it just by discarding 1 card, so it's a free +1. But I just kind of opted to only play 2 in this build because sometimes it can be a bit cloggy, and sometimes I don't really have the right hands where I do open up with a other musket card that I can discard off of it to get that effect, which is kind of a shame, but you know, it is what it is. I am playing 2 doc because the recursion with this card is really good, because when a speller trap is activated in its column, it lets you get any musket card from your grave to your hand. So in the grind game, this can be really good from resetting a lot of your stuff back to your hand so that you can activate them later on, as long as it's not the same name that you're adding back, because it doesn't let you do that, unfortunately, but it's still good for recursion nonetheless. And that's for the musket lineup. And for the hand trap lineup here, you guys can see I'm playing quite a big amount of hand traps here. I'm playing 2 Nibiru the Primal Being, 3 Ashbar Summon Joy Spring, 3 Effect Veiler, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. So Nibiru, so this lineup here is basically just your flex spot depending on how your local meta is shaping, or if you're going to a certain event. This is just the lineup that I'm using because this is what fits my local meta the most, but this can literally just be any 11 cards that you want. It can be a full-blown engine, it can be some good going first cards, or it can be whatever you want. You can even splash something maybe like an evenly match if you want to, or something else, or maybe some floodgates if you really need to have your deck tailored the meta that way. But for me, this is just what works best for my local meta specifically. And that is it for the monster lineup. For the spells, I'm only playing 2 magical musket cross domination because this is your monster negate from the hand, and it also does some weird damage step shenanigans by changing your opponent's monster's attacking defense to 0, so it can be really good for that as well. And I am playing 3 Ties of the Brethren in the main, because sometimes going first with this deck can sometimes be a hinder if you only have one musket on the field. So activating something like this when you're just going first is really good, and I just wanted to kind of have a good balance between going first and going second. So with cards like this really does help me plus and ensure I have a good turn 1 board, regardless of of whether or not I lose a die roll. And then here for the new card, I'm playing 3 Link into the Vein. So if you guys don't know what this does, basically what it says is it lets you special summon 1 monster from your hand, literally any monster, but then negate its effects, and then immediately after this effect resolves, it lets you link summon 1 link monster using materials you control, including the summon monster. And then this link summon cannot be negated. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a monster is link summoned this way. And if a link monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your grave, you can banish this card to add 1 monster with the same original type as one of those destroyed monsters from your grave to your hand. So basically, this can, going second, this can do a lot, has a lot of utility play for you, because you can literally just activate this, summon any musket from your hand, go into max, and then with that, if you already have another musket on the field when you activated this and activated it in its column, you get to trigger max and then that musket to help you chain block with max to ensure you to make sure you get that plus off of it as soon as possible. So that it can go through that way. And the fact that it protects the summon to make sure it does go through is also a really big plus. And obviously the recursion you get off of this while this is in your game can also come up every now and then. For me, it hasn't really come up as much, but it is something that you can think about and can help you ensure that you get your place on your next turn, even if your opponent establishes a board and is still for some reason unable to kill you. And yeah, for the last spell, I'm playing 3 Pot of Extravagance, because in this deck, you really don't care too much about your extra deck, because it's just basically just fodder for whatever you need. So that's why I'm only playing 3. That's why I am playing 3, because this extra deck doesn't really matter that much besides max, in my opinion, so that's why I'm playing it. And that is it for the spells. For the traps, I am playing 3 Magical Musket Desperado, 3 Last Stand, and 1 Dancing Nails. So Desperado is basically a free pop from your hand, because it just targets any face-up card, and unless you destroy it. Last Stand is obviously your spell and trap negate. The only weird thing is it negates the activation, so if your opponent does have another card that they can just activate with the same name from their hand, then it's not as good, but it's still a spell speed 3 nonetheless, so that's why it's really good for that. And the Dancing Needle is obviously your DD Crow on crap, because it lets you target up to 3 cards in any grave and banish them. So I mean, it's really good for that, and it can really cripple a lot of graveyard strategies, especially in this meta with decks like Sprite and Tier Elements overwhelming the entire meta. This can be really good for that. And yeah, that is it for the main deck. So for the extra deck, guys, I am playing 3 Magic Musketeer Max, because obviously this is one of the best cards in the entire deck, because it can either add you magical muskets up to the number of magical musket spells and traps up to the number of monsters they control, or it lets you special summon magical musket monsters from your deck up to the number of spells and traps your opponent controls. So regardless of whatever deck they're playing, you can just go free +5 off of this one card, which is pretty broken to me. And the fact that this card, when it's summoned, if you summon this off of Link into the Veins, helps you ensure you protect it and ensure you get its effect off, is just really good. And I am playing 1 IP Masquerade for the off chance that I do get 2 on the field, that I do need some follow-up on the following turns, where I can just go into a free Link 3 like Unicorn, for example. That's really good for that. Hip Hit Shonen, he comes up every now and then, but not as often as I'd like. But the recursion effect off of it to let you get any light from your grave back to your hand for follow-up is good, I guess. And then I'm playing one Nightmare Phoenix, Unicorn, and Cerberus. I'm playing all three because they're just good generic link threes that you can play. And if you do build your side deck to go going second and play cards like Mind Control, for example, and you use this and you have these in your extra deck, it can really help you break boards going second, so it's really good for that. And then I am playing one access code because it may come up, it may not come up. Obviously it really doesn't in this deck because you're not really summoning a bunch of times unless you really need to, so it's okay for that. And then for our Xyz, I'm playing one Abyss Dweller because there is a free rank 4 toolbox here with Calamity and Starfire here that you can use to go into any rank 4 that you want. So Abyss Dweller is obviously good for graveyard matchups like Spider Tier Elements, and then one Baguska because it can also be really good for that because it changes everything defense and you consider effects, so it's cool. Tornado Dragon because it's also another cool way to get rid of spells and traps, even though this may not be the best out to cards like, for example, Mystic Mind. It's still a great toolbox nonetheless for any other backward matchup regardless. One Time Thief Redoer because it's just a really good generic rank 4 that can just snipe anything at the top of your opponent's deck, so it's cool for that. And one Downer Magician, just so you can get the free so you get the free 4 materials off of Zeus so that you can get 2 board wipes during their turn, obviously. And that is it, guys. That's gonna be my deck profile for my Magical Muskets post the Megatins for the October 2022 format. So yeah, guys, you definitely give this deck out a try. It's one of my favorite decks and it's one of the better decks that I've been playing for a good amount of time. I know this is not the most updated build and I know that there's a lot of other different things that I'm not playing here, including like the Utopia package, because I just honestly wanted a lesson on the bricks in this deck that I'm playing, so that's why I'm only playing this lineup specifically without the double or nothing package. So that's my reason for that. But either way, guys, you would, if you're trying to just get into an entry-level deck that doesn't cost too much, that is easy to play and is a lot of fun to play, especially if you're playing a blind going second deck, then this can be a really good deck for you. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, this is Daniel YGO 45 signing off.